Pythagoras also did some other things that I was not informed about. He developed the musical scale. Pythagoras felt that the universe, the gods, the heavens, the planets, music, physics, the world, is all in harmony. And he wasn't as obsessed with the triangle as he was with trying to understand harmony in nature, and mathematics was part of that exploration. Now, to show you how tightly tied religion is to these physical properties of the world and mathematics, if you look up top, you'll notice that God is tuning his guitar. Pythagoras has God as a roadie. Even better, Pythagoras was the leader of a cult called the Pythagorean Brotherhood, and they believed in many bizarre things and practices. Now, I was in high school in the 60s. I can't relate to cults. This is something else that someone could have mentioned. A final thing I learned about Pythagoras: he died an early death. He was killed by an angry mob who did not agree with his views on math and religion. I can relate to that also. I think my entire 9th grade math class also wanted to kill Pythagoras for having to memorize a stupid theorem. Okay, so here's what Pythagoras figured out: that if you take a vibrating string and you shorten it, either with a slide or with your fingers and frets on a fretboard, the sound will get higher, and if you go the other direction, the sound will get lower, and that works no matter what note that guitar is tuned to, that instrument is tuned to. There are also some perfect proportions. If you divide it by 1/3 and 2/3 and you play the 2/3 part, what you're getting is a perfect 5th harmonic. If you play guitar, that's on the 7th fret. So there are these perfect proportions in math and music and physics that Pythagoras was exploring. Who can tell me what this is? Okay, sheet music is better. If you said music, that's entirely wrong. My description of this is a blight on society. This is the worst example of information design that we have been saddled with for more than 500 years. This is a god-awful system developed by monks in the 1500s. 1,500 years, no, sorry, 2,000 years after Pythagoras, this system of musical notation was developed. Who learned the musical scale this way? Like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Did anyone ever ask why it starts on the letter C? Anyone know? Raise your hand if you know. These are such basic questions. If you play A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you are playing in the key of A minor. And when this musical notation system was introduced, A minor was the somber key that you would hear in church or at funerals or some Motown. But this is a problem with the system. We have 4 octaves here on the musical scale. Those four octaves embody 48 notes. Those 48 notes need to exist in 28 spaces. No matter how you do the math, that doesn't divide. Who can tell me what this is? Look. These are notes that don't exist. These are stumbling blocks, booby traps in the musical scale. There's no such thing as a E sharp or a B sharp. Or there's no such thing as a F flat, right, or a C flat. Now, if you really study music, you can say, oh yeah, there's a E sharp, it's F. But that's the point. Monks didn't have that problem. They were playing in the minor key, usually A minor key, and they didn't have to notice there are no sharps and flats here. The monks had it easy for themselves. what they ended up doing is strapping us with this god-awful system that we mistake for music. Okay, whoever looked at a piano keyboard and thought, hey, look, a couple notes are missing? Anyone? Okay, the acoustic space between any two adjoining notes are actually the same. So there are actually no notes missing. There are 12 notes in the musical scale. They're all spaced evenly, acoustically spaced evenly. So if you look at a guitar fretboard, of course, you'll notice there are no missing frets, right? But in a piano, it's a bit of an optical illusion. You get the appearance. And because of that, transposing, playing in the key of C, is much different than playing in the key of C sharp or the key of D. You really have to rethink some things if you're going to do that if you're playing piano. Now, this is Irving Berlin. Irving Berlin is a great American composer. He wrote things like Alexander's Ragtime Band. He wrote Putting on the Ritz. He wrote God Bless America. This is a very early photo, and if you look to where Irving's fingers are, you'll see he's on the black keys. Irving Berlin only played piano in one key, and that was the key of F sharp. When you play in the key of F sharp, you play all 5 black keys. You also play the 2 blue keys that I'm showing here. Irving Berlin had a piano that had a lever underneath that would literally lift up the keyboard and shift it over 1 string at a time. So while he only played in the key of F sharp, his piano could translate that to any key. This is Amazing Grace in the key of G. This is an alternative way. What you'll see on the bottom are 6 lines. This is called tablature. Guitar players use this. It's 1 line per string, and those numbers show you which fret to play on. But I'm going to talk about a system developed in Nashville, which gets away from letters and uses numbers. 1141, 1155. This system was developed by Neil Matthews of the Jordanaires. The Jordanaires were backup singers for people like Elvis Presley, but lots of other country singers. This is further developed by Charlie McCoy, who is still down in Nashville playing away, but a session player, goes back to the 1960s. And here's what they did. Rather than look at C, D, E, F, G, A, B, what they thought about was the relative distance between notes, and they just used numbers. And I'll show you here in the key of C, if you play the 1, 4, and 5 chord, you get C, F, and G. This is what this means. This is musical notation that does not have a key. Right? 1141 means something in the key of C, but 1141 means something different in the key of D. And that means when the Jordanaires or anyone was playing the same song with different singers, they only needed 1 arrangement. This is a keyless system. Okay, what is my point? A question that I am asking myself at this very second. Okay, so you go back like 2,500 years. We got Pythagoras thinking of art, music, math, the universe, embodying it all at once. What's happened since that time, though, is our education system has kind of gone that way or that way. We either get channeled into like music or art, or we get channeled into things like math and science. It's a left brain, right brain thing. But you don't have a left brain and a right brain. You have a left half and you have a right half. So if you ever speak to someone and they say, oh, I'm a right brain person, or I'm a left brain person, what you should be thinking to yourself inside is, I am talking to a half-brain person. Okay, back to the slide rule. If you look at a slide rule and you compare that to a slide guitar, you'll notice probably more similarities than you would think. Here's my recommendation. Skip math class and music class. Go on eBay. Buy a slide rule and a slide guitar and learn them both at the same time. If you're really ambitious, move to Nashville, put a band together, write all your musical arrangements using numbers, not letters, and see if you could talk the drummer into putting a picture of Pythagoras on his bass drum head. Thanks a lot.